Do they trust you? Do they trust the business? Do they trust the product? Off the video, if you guys want me to tell you the Hunter story of what happened on a TV at a mastermind event. Anyone remember the universal sales equation? Please don't embarrass me in front of James.
Value equals.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Value and certainty. Assuming this was a sea-ready vessel, what is the first thing that is holding this ship back from moving in the ocean? Thank you, Jared. The bottleneck. Right? If you don't solve for the bottleneck, none of the other shit matters. Too often, we come to these events, or you listen to content, or you buy courses, or you read books, or whatever the fuck else, that are basically like, hey, how do I get the wire? Right? You're doing, how do I take my company public when your gym isn't at 10K a month? You have to solve for the next, basically, step. Right? It is step by step by step by step. You know, if you're Jacob and you deadlift 800 pounds or whatever the fuck it is, and you're starting off, right? His new client comes in at 135. I don't need to be worried about, hey, how do I lock out an 800 pound deadlift? Like, no, you need to figure out how to hinge, right? So what is the first thing that we need to worry about? Little bottleneck fund, right? Now, let's assume we clear the bottleneck, this ship gets out in the ocean. What's something that would hold the ship back from moving forward?
The wind.
Wind, yeah. That's not what I'm looking for. Anchors. So today, we're going to talk about ships. Specifically, leaderships. Yeah, right? Right? I'll be here all weekend. We're going to talk about leadership.
I want my money back.
That's fair. Talk to Kyle. Anchors, bottlenecks, and icebergs. Now, y'all, I know everyone's rolling their eyes in my like, leaderships. This whole idea, I started pulling on the string. This idea of the nautical, naval leadership business parallels sucks way less than you think it does. Watch. You guys, you're the captains. You decided, you're the crazy motherfuckers that said like, yeah, I know I'm like over here on dry land and I got this 9-to-5 job and I can like just stay here and make some money and maybe retire in 40 years and have my social security. Y'all said, nah. Let's build a boat, let's make a little raft, let's go out across the ocean, let's take a ton of risks, right? Let's go do this shit. Let's go on this risky journey in search of a better life. Most of the time you guys did this with no life raft, no backup plan. It's just you and the water trying to grow this thing. You guys all have this in common. Pretty good. But you pull the arm, it keeps going. I ain't done on this leadership. Some of you just want to cross like a little bitty river, a little stream, go to the other side, eat some berries, lay in the grass and shit. Oh, I just want a little self-employed business, have a nice little income, it'll be fun. Some of you want to cross every fucking ocean and take over the goddamn world. You're the captain of your ship. You decide what you want your journey to be. Now, neither one of those folks is right or wrong. I want to be very clear about that. That's something that I don't feel like we talk about enough. Just because Mark has 4 locations and he's going to end up having 10 and licensing and doing all these things, you don't have to want that. Your life is not Mark's life. I don't want you to feel like you have to want what I want for you, or what Kyle wants for you, or what James wants for you, whatever it is. It needs to be about what you want your journey to be. Neither one of you is right or wrong, but one of you needs a bigger boat. How many people does it take to captain this vessel, assuming you're not Harrison?
Four Harrisons, 2 normal.
I'd say it's a 1-person vessel, but I have huge muscles. Can I make an announcement really quick, just in case you guys are wondering? I got this question a lot yesterday. I am lifetime natty. So. Just in case you were wondering. It takes 1 person. You're trying to do 1 little stream, little. So when you're trying to do a little easy journey, the only person that you need to sell the vision to, that you need to train, that you need to motivate, that you need to hold accountable, create opportunity for, the only person you need to do those things for when you're going on a little single person journey, it's just yourself. It's the only person you need to worry about. But could 1 person run one of these? I think Kyle's like still, like literally goes on boats like every weekend. He's like actually a Viking. Like he's still raping and pillaging in like the Arctic Circle and shit. 1 person can't run one of those. 1 person can't take over the world. If you're trying to take over the world, you need a team. When you build a team, and this is, Kyle and I talk about the frustrations with this all the time. When you build a team, you are essentially asking people, most of which do not think like you. You're hard charging. You want to work hard. You hold yourself accountable. I don't need to motivate you. You guys are going to do that yourself. But when you have a team, they don't think like that. You're asking people who don't think like you to take a risky as fuck journey across uncertain waters in hopes of getting the life they want. That is what your team is looking for. They don't necessarily care about building your vision and lining your pockets. They're looking for what they want out of their life. The other thing about team, people don't want to start a journey. They don't want to get on a boat that they think is going to sink. Anyone remember the universal sales equation? Please don't embarrass me in front of James.
Value equals this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Value and certainty. So if we think about power strength, I'm a trainer, I'm looking for a job, and we think about power strength versus like Jim the trainer, right? Some solopreneur. I get offered the job at both places. It's the same pay, the same hours, the same responsibilities, etc., etc. The value from both businesses, if you exclude like the boost in working somewhere super legit, if you take that out of the equation, the value is the same. I'm getting the same money, same hours, everything else. The certainty is not, because I don't know if I can trust Jim the trainer in a tiny little closet in a warehouse to be in business in 6 months. But if Mark is offering me a job, I'm pretty certain that opportunity is going to be there, that the value is going to be reached. Value and certainty. Where does the certainty start? Guesses?
Yourself.
Starts with the f***ing captain. Let's go. Captain Crunch. Any of this protein cereal actually like any good? Like, does it actually taste like your kid's cereal?
No.
Fuck, that's sad. That's like the biggest thing I miss from being a kid. Shitty sugar cereal. It all starts with the captain. The captain of the ship, it starts with you. You have to sell the mission and vision to your team. You have to assemble the crew, keep them motivated, keep them accountable, and you have to set the pace. That is where we hit the biggest, like the first big for this talk. Level 10 talent is not going to play for a level 4 leader. At least not for long. You can get by with money, right? It's like dating. So you find a woman, she wants you to be the sugar daddy, whatever else, you might be able to get by with money for a little bit, but rest assured they are looking for the next guy behind your back. And as soon as they find an opportunity with more certainty, with a level 10 leader, with someone that plays at or above their level, they are leaving you. Period. End of story. Everything comes back to the universal sales equation, value and certainty. Thank you, Jesse. So what does value mean? We know like in an actual sale, when you're selling your fitness stuff, value is like, oh, what's the result? Da-da-da-da, what can I get? Well, in a job, when you're looking to hire a team member, value gets broken down a little bit differently. So the first part is money now. How much are you gonna pay me right now for the job, right? That's sort of the first thing we all think about in terms of the value that I'm giving you as a team member. The second thing is money later, right? So what's my opportunity to make more later on? What kind of room do I have for growth? Third thing, mission and vision. So there's value in being in the fitness industry. You get to change people's lives every day, right? You have the cause, the impact, and the growth. You've got Daniel Pink rules. So if anybody's read the book Drive, somewhere there's a video in college. I did an actual song about this to Brown Eyed Girl. If you want me to sing it to you, I'll try to remember it. It's pretty good. Daniel Pink, autonomy, sense of purpose, and opportunity for mastery. Those will bring value to a position. So if you get to do your job kind of whenever you want, right? There's a level of value and flexibility. Like there's value in that flexibility. If you're working towards a purpose, right? There's value in feeling like you're working towards something that is bigger than yourself. If you have the opportunity to grow and master something, there's value to being able to do that, to being able to do work that matters and grow as a human instead of just doing like, I'm a paper pusher or whatever, not doing anything that means anything. People, relationships, and fun, enjoyment, those bring value to the business. It's probably like one of the only reasons that Kyle stayed with my ass, because I failed on a bunch of this other shit. But we have fun. There's enjoyment. We care. There's value in that to potential team members. There's also prestige. So if I work for Power Strength, I feel like, I feel a little bit more legit. I got a collared shirt. I got a brand. Look at me. I'm the trainer. There's more prestige to that than like working in a shitty warehouse. Goldman Sachs or whatever has more prestige to that job, being a front desk girl or whatever at Anytime Fitness. Now, I do want to mention this. It's another form of impact and growth. The idea, like there's value to maybe working in a startup where you have the opportunity to make this really big impact on the business. Your proportional impact to the business is infinitely bigger at Facebook, whatever, 15 years ago than it is now as employee number 50,000 or whatever. See what I mean? So there's value in being able to make a large impact to the business. I think that's one of the things that draws Bryce to us, to be honest, because he gets to basically build this website side of the business. He's gonna have a huge impact on us over time. It's something he can't do at a larger company. The other side is certainty, and this is very similar to the universal sales equation, just sort of as it's taught. So how likely is it that the value that you are selling me is actually going to be realized? I can say, hey, Alex, come work for us. I'm going to give you $1 million a year. Say, yeah, I think I'll keep doing what I'm doing because I don't think you're going to give me that. You know what I mean? How likely is it that the value that you've sold me is actually going to be realized? Do they trust you? Do they trust the business? Do they trust the product? Do they feel like the product that you're putting out there is actually getting people the result that you're promising? Do they trust themselves to be able to fulfill on the job? So if I ask Kyle, hey Kyle, you're gonna be our next automation and tech expert. He's like, no, I don't trust myself to do that. I am not taking this position, right? But the biggest thing is, do they trust you? Particularly when it's smaller. When you're just starting out, it's do I trust the founders? Do I trust the people that I'm gonna be working with and for? James and Mark will probably talk about, when we talk about retention, yeah, you need to make the sale to your clients forever. The first sale is not where the transaction ends, but that's where the lion's share of the work is done on that initial sale. The unfortunate truth about team members, you don't get to stop. The sale of the value and the certainty and everything else, that must happen consistently and permanently forever, for as long as you want that person to be on your team. Maybe, I will make this caveat, maybe eventually the journey, the mission that you and your business are on, the ship itself, maybe the brand or what have you, and the crew create borrowed credibility for you. It's like at this point when Mark's hiring people, you probably don't just look at Mark. I'm not just basing my decision on joining that team based on Mark. There's also Power Strength brand, that's got a reputation in his area. If you're a trainer in Grand Rapids, Michigan, you probably know Power Strength, right? You are working with people on his team. And so when the team is credible and you're interviewing with these various people that seem like they have their shit together, you're like, oh yeah, there's borrowed credibility there. So all of the credibility of Power Strength does not come back to Mark at this stage. It's always kind of gonna be there, right? It starts with you, and again, this is particularly true during your first handful of hires. CEO goggles, productive focus. What is the most urgent, impactful thing that I can be focusing on to grow my business versus focusing on the things that make you feel better about how bad you suck, but you still suck. Focus. Examples. Nobody wants to work. There's no loyalty in this business. People just aren't loyal to their companies anymore. Nobody's any good. I can't find any good people. I would argue that's sack of shit focus. That might make you feel better about how bad you suck, but guess what? You still suck. Let's do CEO goggles. How can I get more high quality applicants? What can I engineer? What can I control to solve this problem? There's no loyalty. Well, maybe instead, am I creating a place that's worth being loyal to? Am I a captain that is worth being loyal to? Is my business a business that is worth being loyal to? Again, what can you control? Nobody's any good. You can't find any good trainers. All the trainers in the area suck. Well, how can I create great trainers? How can I train them up as efficiently, effectively, etc. as possible? Which one is more useful? One side you got sack of shit focus, the other side, you got your CEO goggles on. More examples. My team won't do what I want. My clients aren't dedicated. Oh, I don't have clients that are dedicated to their fitness and strength. My market is hard. It's a really competitive market. Boo and who. My team won't do what I want. Are you setting expectations? Are you creating support and coaching to help them reach those expectations? Are you holding your team accountable, creating accountability structures in your business to get them to do what you want? My clients aren't dedicated. Well, how can I make my clients more excited about being dedicated? How can I make it something they enjoy, they want to stick to, versus just saying, my people suck. My market's hard. Great. How can I capitalize on this moat? If you're in a super competitive market or it's really expensive to advertise in your market, guess what? That's a positive thing. Because the reality is, if it was easy to go play in your market, guess what? Someone like me, someone like Mark, someone like James is going to move into your market. And they're gonna eat your lunch because you're gonna get lazy because your market's so easy. When it's hard, you create a bigger moat when you are successful in that more competitive market. It's also you got the chance to have a bigger business because you're in a more competitive, larger market. Are we good on focus? Does that make sense? CEO goggles versus sack of shit goggles. More musings. Again, the next wave, if you want to grow a 7-figure business, you must first become a 7-figure human. Your business is not going to outgrow who you are as a person. The reason I say that So early on, we're thinking about this hiring stuff. It is highly unlikely that you're going to be able to, number one, find, and number two, afford anyone to get on your team that will play to your standard or above. It's just not going to happen. And if you do find somebody that comes in and they're more dedicated, work harder, everything else than you, guess what? They're gonna leave. Because level 10 talent will not play for a level 4 owner. Bottom line is you set the standard. I think it's the Sam Ovens thing. Say you don't rise the level of your goals. Maybe it's Tony Robbins. Who the fuck knows? Everyone steals from everybody. You don't rise the level of your goals. You fall the level of your standards. Your business does not rise to the level of your vision and the goals that you set in January this year. It falls to the level of your standards. And your team will typically not exceed your standards, particularly early on. You set the standard. The standard or leadership or values is not a poster on the wall. How many of you have core values in your business? That might be a worthy exercise, potentially. How many of you know them by memory off the top of your head? Not enough, right? So you're great, you have core values, you have a poster on the wall. That doesn't mean shit. Genuine, exceptional, innovative, involved. Get the fuck out of here. You've got to know the language. Your team's got to live by it. You set the standard. It is not a poster on the wall. Last slide, I'm clicking too fast, is I think an Emerson quote. Your actions are speaking so loudly, I cannot hear what you're saying. Your actions as a leader are speaking so loudly that I can't hear you when you say, hey, Dusty, you need to work harder. And you're being a sack of shit, playing Xbox and doing Pornhub all day. Off the video, if you guys want me to tell you the Hunter story of what happened on a TV at a mastermind event. The level 10, this is an example of a sack of shit leader. So I made the really bad mistake, this was years ago, like, I'm gonna do some like real high touch consulting. I'm gonna run level 10 meetings. We had this guy, I'm like really struggling with my team, like, all right, we'll run some level 10 stuff, create some accountability structures, whatever. And so we're a couple weeks in, and this guy, he just hired this team member a couple months ago. And she wasn't awesome, but she was pretty good. Like, she had the talent and the drive and whatever to be a really solid player, a soldier. The owner was frustrated. Oh, she's not doing her shit. Da, da, da. And so week one, we set some stuff. The owner didn't get any of his shit done. None of the things that we set. Well, neither did the employee. The next week, the owner, and these are very simple things. Like, the owner was responsible for following up with the leads. We go back and he literally made no follow-ups, no calls, no efforts, what have you. And he's trying to get bitchy with the employee not getting her things done. What do you think happened with that employee?
She left.
Fucking exactly. And I left because I'm not going to work with a fucking piece of shit owner that it's just not going to work. Level 10 talent will not play for a level 4 owner, at least not for long. What did she do? She found a job. It actually paid more too. But those people will find a job that pays less just to not deal with your dumb ass because you're being a sack of shit. Level 10 talent will not play for a level 4 owner. Some of you have heard me talk about this, right? American football, just so you know, this is a sport. Men put on tight pants and helmets and run into each other and create brain damage. That's what's part of my problem in my life. 2 years, basically the same team, right? One of them has a captain, a leader named Jameis Winston. And you're pretty talented. He beat any of us at pickup football and stuff like that. Maybe not me. I throw that football over that mountain over there. But pretty talented guy, right? 7-9, they missed the playoffs. The next year, they bring in the fucking GOAT. They bring in somebody that creates organizational belief. I believe that this journey that I'm going on actually has a chance of succeeding. It's the same boat, right? Pretty much the same team. They had the same promise, the same mission. They were going on the same journey. Every team at the beginning of the year, I'm gonna win the Super Bowl. Yeah. The difference between year 1 and year 2, the difference between the team that missed the playoffs and the team that won the Super Bowl is the team that won the Super Bowl believed it. And why do they believe it? Because the captain of the ship created that belief. And how did the captain of the ship create that belief? Did he do it with motivational speeches and shit? Hey, Jameis, he does some great motivational, eat a W, da-da-da. They both do motivational speeches. The difference is when Tom Brady does it, they fucking believe it. Everyone in the building believed that team was gonna win a Super Bowl, and guess what they did? They had an engaged captain. So that team now believes, hey, it's worth it for me to do these extra workouts. It's worth it for me to like fucking go all out. Whereas Jameis's team, let me cash my check, like, let me not get hurt, let me get to my next contract, because we ain't going anywhere. Sure, there's exceptions and whatever else, but in general, it's the belief in the captain. I also think, to be fair, there's a lesson in Brady's last year. because they did not. I don't know if they even made the playoffs. Whatever, doesn't matter. But they did not perform nearly as well as they did the year before. Well, is that captain fully engaged? He's fucking retired. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'm out. And then he's back, and then he's doing a bunch of personal shit. Everything else, like, guess what? I don't know. Cap's kind of checked out. Maybe I'm checked out too. Other factors, I'm sure, but in general, I would argue that Brady was not all there. And the organizational belief, the belief that the journey was worth it, the belief that we were actually going to get to the goal was not as genuine.